Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am sitting here literally shaking my head at the TV because Dr. Marlena Evans just delivered the psychological smackdown of the century. Marlena literally slapped down Xander's reconciliation ambitions with a rationale so shocking and brutally honest that it left me gasping for air. I am talking about a complete and total reality check that shattered his delusions into a million little pieces. Xander woke up from his little fantasy world so fast, I think he got whiplash, and by the end of it, he was practically begging for help. Am I the only one who felt a weird mix of pity and absolute triumph watching him squirm? Because, let's be real, he desperately needed this wake-up call before he ruined everything again. But wait, let me back up because I am getting way ahead of myself here. Let's talk about how we even got to this therapy session in the first place. Philip Kiriakis, yes, Philip, of all people, decided to play Cupid. I know, right? Philip locking Sarah and Xander in the Kiriakis wine cellar is the kind of classic soap trope we all secretly live for. And you know what? It actually worked. The chemistry between Paul Telfer and Lindsay Godfrey is just off the charts. It always has been. When they were trapped in that cellar, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. They almost kissed. Their chemistry was spiraling completely out of control, and for a second, I was screaming at the TV, just do it! Because despite everything, they are electric together. The raw, undeniable, magnetic pull between them is exactly why we've all been rooting for Xarah. So of course, Xander leaves that wine cellar feeling like he is on cloud nine. He is floating. He genuinely thinks that one near kiss means he and Sarah are magically back on the fast track to reconciliation. He walks into Marlena's office, practically glowing, thinking he's got this whole thing figured out and Sarah's just going to fall right back into his arms. But Marlena? Oh, Marlena's not having it today. She sits there with that calm, piercing stare of hers and just dismantles his entire worldview. She points out, very calmly but firmly, that almost kissing your ex-wife in a wine cellar is not proof that you are on the road to reconciliation. It's just biology. It's just history. It doesn't mean the actual deep-rooted problems that destroyed their marriage have magically vanished. And she is so right. And then she brings up the messy, toxic elephant in the room, Gwen and Kristen. I mean, can we talk about this for a second? Xander has been hopping into bed with Gwen and Kristen DeMera like it's a competitive sport. Kristen! The woman who literally kidnapped Sarah, drugged her, shipped her off to a deserted island, wore a mask to steal her life, and caused her unimaginable psychological torture. And Xander just laughs it off in therapy. He literally chuckles and tells Marlena that those women mean absolutely nothing to him. Like, oh, it's just a casual fling with the woman who ruined my wife's life. No big deal. Are you kidding me, Xander? You cannot just brush that off. How on earth does he expect Sarah to ever feel safe with him when he's casually sleeping with her worst enemy? It is beyond infuriating to watch him be so dense. Okay, catching my breath. Back to the point. Marlena hits the absolute core of the issue, and this is where the scene went from good to phenomenal. She tells Xander that neither he nor Sarah has actually dealt with the trauma that broke them. Surface level forgiveness is not healing. Sure, Sarah might act like she's moved past the fact that Xander brutally beat Philip, or all the lies he told to cover his tracks. But she hasn't... You don't just get over your husband turning into a violent monster and lying to your face for months on end. Xander's been walking around promising that he's changed, swearing he'll never hurt anyone again, but promises aren't the same as doing the hard, painful psychological work. Marlena made him realize that this surface forgiveness is a fragile illusion, and if they don't dig deep, history is just going to repeat itself. And this is where I get so frustrated with soap writing sometimes. Like, they always want to rush the reunion without doing the work. Remember when they tried to rush EJ and Sami back together a million times without addressing the toxicity? Yeah, didn't work then either. But here, Marlena is actually forcing the narrative to acknowledge the trauma. She is telling Xander that until they have those brutally honest, painfully difficult conversations, they have no hope. They are just a ticking time bomb. Xander finally seemed to absorb this. You could see the light bulb go off in his head. He realized that his biggest obstacle isn't Brady, it isn't Philip, it isn't Kristen, it's himself. It's his own unresolved darkness and his refusal to face it. But then, oh my god, then what does he do? He takes Marlena's brilliant, insightful advice and completely misinterprets how to apply it. Instead of being vulnerable with Sarah, instead of saying, hey, I love you, but we have a lot of work to do before we can be together, what does he do? He goes to Sarah and tells her that the near kiss meant nothing. Screams into a pillow. Why? Why does he do this? He thinks he's protecting her, or maybe he's protecting himself because he's terrified of failing her again, but it's such a classic vintage Xander move. He self-sabotages. He pushes her away in the most painful, dismissive way possible because he doesn't know how to handle the heavy emotional lifting Marlena just assigned him. And let's not forget the massive complication standing right in the middle of all this. Brady Black, I'm sorry, but I just cannot get on board with Sarah and Brady. I know some people are loving this safe dynamic, but personally it puts me to sleep. But because Xander just told Sarah their moment meant nothing, what is she going to do? She is going to run right back to Brady's safe, boring arms. She is actively suppressing her pull towards Xander, literally exchanging I love yous with Brady just to convince herself she's moved on. Xander just handed her right back to Brady on a silver platter. It is so frustrating to watch because we all know she doesn't love Brady the way she loves Xander. It's a trauma response. Brady is a safe harbor from Xander's chaos, and Xander just proved to her that he's still chaotic by hurting her all over again. Look, I've been watching this show for years, and I am heavily invested in Xander and Sarah. I really, truly root for a Xarah reunion, but I don't want a cheap, quick fix. I want them to be endgame. I want them to be the next Steve and Kayla. Think about Stayla. They went through hell and back. Steve made horrible mistakes. He lied. He kept secrets. He was a mercenary, but they did the work. They found real, lasting happiness because they built a foundation of actual trust, not just surface-level apologies. That is exactly what I want for Xander and Sarah. I want them to stop this endless, exhausting, wash, rinse, repeat cycle of breaking up and getting back together. It's tiring for them, and it's tiring for us. So please, Days Riders, I am begging you, let Xander actually heed Marlena's advice. Let him beg for her professional help to fix his broken psychology. Let him do the therapy, let him face his demons, and let Sarah see him putting in the actual effort to be a better man. Let them have those difficult, tear-filled conversations about the lies and the violence. Because when Xander and Sarah finally reunite, and they will, because they are soulmates, I want it to be permanent. I want it to be the endgame we deserve. Until then, I guess I'll just be over here yelling at my screen every time Xander opens his mouth and ruins everything!